What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we cover the entirety of One World Under Doom, a story given to us by Ryan North. Dr. Doom brings in a new world order. He gains the title of Sorcerer Supreme, and with Doom's rise to power, of course, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, the X-Men, they all stand to face him. For so long, Doom has stood tall, and now reigning over all of Earth, we are all left wondering, what could possibly bring down Emperor Doom? With that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we pick up with Doom talking to the world. The flag has been planted. He tells the world that earlier this morning, the world leaders of every nation on Earth, every king, every queen, every warlord, and president willingly swore fealty to Doom. And so as of this moment, every nation on Earth has become a province of a unified Earth, a unified Latveria. He tells the world that some of you might be in fear, that death squads might come out, that it will be slave labor, eternal monuments to the glory of Doom. But he says that none of that will transpire, that to begin his rule, he only has two small decrees. That war between nations is outlawed. There will be no conflict between Latveria's provinces. This will be the new peace under Doom. Secondly, all citizens of Earth will all be treated equally. There will no longer be inequality. There will be no longer going without medicine, without knowledge. Every nation move forward will not only care for the bodies of the citizens, but the health care as well, their education. All of this will be taken care of. Healthcare will be accessible to all. Education available to anybody that wants it. And while Doom gives this speech, military leaders are plotting coups. That the politicians may have agreed to all of this, but the militaries of the world did not. But before they can do anything, Doom has his Doombots invading, taking out the military leaders right where they stand. He tells the world that there will be future broadcasts. But for now, this is all he has to say to the world. That all the old leaders are left in place, free to govern exactly how they did before, except the new responsibilities he has implemented in his orders. The day-to-day lives will not change, except they will have significant improvements. Doom is wisdom. Doom is power. Doom is prosperity. And only Doom can save you. This is what takes us to our superheroes. The Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and then a handful of individuals like Squirrel Girl, Nancy Whitehead, Brain Drain, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange. The heroes have sat down to figure out what the hell they're gonna do. Obviously, the first thought is this is some kind of mind control. Maybe they replaced all the world leaders with Doombots. Strange knows that this has gotta be something to do with magic. After he had pretty much stole the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange concludes that this is the only thing it could be. While they discuss this is when Hydra pops up their head. Zemo pops up using the same broadcast that Doom had used, letting the people of Earth know that he is on a full-scale attack against Doom, that the world governments may have bowed a knee, but he and Hydra will never bow to him. They will never bend the knee. With Zemo and Hydra moving in on Dr. Doom, Iron Man can't help but think the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but Captain America immediately says no. There is not even a discussion. We're not teaming up with Hydra, Zemo, none of them. But it doesn't ignore the fact that he is marching on Latveria right this very moment. This gives them a prime opportunity to kind of third party them. With Zemo going against Doom, this is their opportunity to get a surprise attack in. And so the Avengers and the rest of these teams, they all hop into the invisible jet and they head off to Latveria. As the Thing makes his way into the field, he runs into a barrier, a magical barrier created by the Sorcerer Supreme. And Scarlet Witch says she could bring it down, but it would possibly take her weeks to even do so. As they try to figure out how they're even gonna get in here, this is when Zemo broadcasts again. He lets the world know that he was mistaken, that Doom is doing what is best for the world, and Hydra has decided to join him. Doom demands schools and hospitals. Thus, Hydra will build them. Now, everybody at this point's like, this has got to be fake. There's no way in hell Zemo and Hydra bent the knee to Doom, that they're gonna be humanitarians now, that Zemo's gotta be under some kind of magical mind control, the same that's gotta be affecting world leaders. As they are able to detect the Hydra flying island, the city, it is flying nearby, so Captain Marvel suggests that they split up into different teams. One team tries to track down Doom, the other Zemo, as Sue works to really try to break through this barrier using equal and opposite wavelengths. She tries to get everybody inside, and shortly later, we pick up with Zemo, with the Avengers coming on board. Hydra begins to attack, and the Avengers do what they do best. They kick some Nazi ass. With our heroes able to break down the doors, they finally catch up with Zemo, going face to face with Captain America. Captain asks him, "What do you know of October 1st, 1945? And Zemo has no response. This is how Captain America knew. Punching Zemo, seeing his head fly off. This is a Doombot. Because October 1st, 1945, that was the date that Hydra was founded by Strucker, a date that he had never forgotten. Zemo would not forget either. But now having a Doombot, it may be useful in seeing what happened. Watching the projection, we see that Doom's not messing around. He killed Zemo and replaced him with an obedient Doombot. Now they wonder, did Doom kill all the world leaders and also replace them with Doombots? Iron Man says that Doom's lying to the world. That's their first problem. He acts like he's changed things, or he's changed into a great leader, but he's trying to buy the people. It's all smoke and mirrors. Now they have the smoking gun, the proof they need. So Iron Man, with the help of Reed Richards, broadcasts to the world. Lets them know that Hydra, Doom, all this stuff, it's kind of crazy right now. But he tells them that Doom didn't open Zemo's eyes. He killed him. He replaced him with the Doombot. That he's lying to you, but of course he is, because he's Dr. Doom. But to have no fear, because they're gonna stop him, telling the people not to believe his lies. And as soon as the members of Hydra hear this, they hear that their leader is murdered. They get ready to start killing everybody. That all lives are now forfeit, now that Zemo has been murdered. And so as Hydra begins to just lay waste to anybody around them, the Hydra agents quickly get taken out. A portal opened up, and we have the arrival of Dr. Doom and the multiversal variant, Dr. Doom Tyrannosaurus Rex. Handling the Hydra threat, he begins to speak to the world again, saying that he did lie, and he apologizes for lying. But he did so because he knew some stuff like this would happen, that Hydra would act out, that they would go on a killing spree. The Avengers didn't even think, they jumped into action, and they helped cause this. They led to all this happening. And so it is the Avengers' fault that this all transpired. That if they had just left Doom alone, left Doom to his plans and scheming, Hydra would have never attacked. They would have built hospitals. They would have built schools. Instead, Doom had to kill them. The Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and everybody else played right into his hand. Doom knew this would happen. He knew that this would transpire. He let Hydra in. He let all of this happen. Doom tells the world that those so-called heroes were correct. This was the only chance to bend Hydra to useful ends. But now that is all dead by their hands. But he will clean up the mess. He will keep them all safe, all cared for, because Doom is wisdom. Doom is power. Doom is prosperity. And only Doom can save us. Alright gang, so we pick up with the Fantastic Four facing off against your typical bad guys. All whilst doing this, they are having a discussion. They are talking about Doom. They've been looking into all the programs he has started up around the world, specifically the schools and universities. But these aren't re-education camps. There's no mind control towers. No, what they have found is that these are completely normal. There's nothing wrong, there's nothing nefarious about this situation. All the schools are well-funded and well-founded public services. They recognize Doom is trying to win politically, that he is trying to claim the hearts and minds of everyone in the world. Johnny thinks that they really just need to defeat Doom in a public sense. They need to make him look weak and silly. They need to make him angry. They need to bring out the Doom that they know, the one that will lash out, the one that will attack them. Show the world that he isn't different. Now, while they plot against Doom, we have somebody from the Fantastic Family that decides to go have a conversation with Doom. That is Val, the goddaughter of Dr. Doom. And I really have always loved the relationship between Dr. Doom and Val. If you guys go back and watch some of my older videos with the Fantastic Four, you'll see that Doom has always gone out of his way for Val. For example, when she was displaced in time, Doom literally went back in time to try and stop the events that had transpired. Inevitably, he learned that he wouldn't be able to change the events, but it didn't stop him from trying over and over and over again to change the past to try and save her. And this relationship has only grown stronger, has only grown bigger. This could be a great thing, but it could also be a very dangerous thing. We could see Val going down the wrong path, but Val kind of gets directly to the point. The two of them have never lied to each other. It has always been truth, or at least that is how Val has seen it. Doom lets her know that she is a young woman who has already exceeded the high expectations that he set for her at birth. She is one that holds Doom's favor, Doom's respect, and Doom's love. Few have experienced the mere taste of any of those. None have ever possessed all three. And so she asks her Uncle Doom, what exactly are you planning? And instead of telling her, he shows her. Traveling now with the Sorcerer Supreme, almost nothing is out of the realm of possibility. The two of them, they look at municipal buildings, they look at the world for what it is, and Doom asks the question, what do you see? This building is supposed to be the representation of democracy, and so Doom is asking Val to defend democracy, and her response is more or less without democracy, without some form of government, it is anarchy. And then you have everyone fighting for their own self-interest, without rules, without organization, without a way to stop bad actors. The way Doom sees the world, it is already an anarchy, but not at the individual, at the global level. That organized governments are no different than anarchy, because it is still nations fighting for their own self-interest, still chaos, still violence, still war. That power only comes from strength, with alliances forming and breaking out of self-preservation. So if you reject anarchy on the level of the individual, why would you accept it on the level of nations? But Val knows Doom enough. She knows that there's something more here, and she straight out lets him know that that may be what you sell to others, but it's not how you justify it to yourself. That you're not doing this for humanity. You're not doing this for me. She wants the truth, and he gives that truth. Doom seeks glory. There is no greater motivation, no greater proof that his efforts are sincere. He wants to unite the world. He has already done what others said was impossible. Now, Val will argue that this is done without consideration for freedom, consent, imposing rule on people. In her eyes, is nothing more than fascism. But Doom sees it as fascism builds upon a foundation of lies. He is building on a foundation of truth, that Doom is the best of us, and the only one qualified to achieve this great unification. Val disagrees with him. A claim like that would require proof. And Doom tells her this is why he is working quickly to prove to the world, to earn its consent. And that includes Val. He is hoping that he can convince the world and Val that he is in fact the best thing for Earth. with Val not really knowing what to say in this situation. Not really sure if she's hopeful really if he's right, hopeful if he could be wrong. But he tells her not to say anything, that let his actions draw towards her own conclusions. And this is what takes us to the next day. Doom's broadcast to the world begins. The Doombots outside protecting. The Fantastic Four taking them down. As they make their way in, they quickly find out that there's not as much resistance as they thought they may be. As Doom speaks to the world, he is telling them that today he is getting rid of imaginary lines. No longer shall anyone be made to suffer from the accident of their birthplace. From this day forward, every person of Earth may choose where they live, choose where they work, choose the nation that they live in. Doom has given the gift of open borders. In this moment, the Fantastic Four break down the door. But what they're met with is something that they didn't expect. The waiters at this event all pull out a weapon, a very unique weapon, one that if left their hand, if something happened to the gun, it would cause it to explode, killing the person holding it. They point these guns at the Fantastic Four. You could almost say that they're fanatics. They know exactly what they got themselves into. They believe full-heartedly in Doom. So much so that they are willing to sacrifice their own lives in protecting him, in seeing his goal really through all the way. And so the question is raised, will the Fantastic Four attack them here in the United Nations? What will you do in this situation now that the civilians have taken up arms against you? Broadcasted to the world, what will you do? And of course, the Fantastic Four must stand down. Doom acknowledging that his mercy in letting them live was not misplaced, but Doom's mercy is gonna go much further. This is when he starts to talk about Ben, aka The Thing, the powerhouse of the Fantastic Four. Reed Richards, the self-proclaimed smartest man, failed to reverse his condition, but Doom wants what is best for everybody, even his most hated enemies. The Fantastic Four accuse him of weakness, of anger, of greed, but in Doom's strength, in his greatness, in his generosity, Doom now grants what Reed Richards never could. Doom cures Ben, reverses his condition, takes away his powers, makes it to where he is completely human again, taking us over to the Avengers. They recognize that they are losing this fight. They've been assuming mind control of all the world leaders, but right now, they don't know what's going on. They have to do a two-prong attack. A wing of magic users and espionage experts led by the Scarlet Witch are going to infiltrate all the capitals they can, find out if the world leaders are under mind control or have become Doombots. But an operation of this scale, it's going to require a distraction. And so she's gathered together a group of unconventional allies, individuals that never would really work with them. But in this case, with Doom taking over the world, this is bad for everybody involved. And here enters the Masters of Evil. Alright gang, we are picking up in the Impossible City. We pick up with the Avengers and the Masters of Evil. From MODOK to Arcade, they've gathered them together and they are preparing for their final assault. Obviously, the Avengers and the Masters of Evil, they have a little standoff here. Thor dang near caves in Arcade's head for a minute. It's not easy for these two individuals or this team as a whole to be able to work together. But right now, everybody wants to take down Doom. They all have a common goal. And so Captain Marvel stepping forward, letting everybody know exactly where we are right now. They tried catching Dr. Doom in a lie. It failed. The Fantastic Four, they tried humiliation. That failed. So Carol Danvers comes up with what she calls the most obvious answer. We're gonna go beat him up. She says we're certain that this is what Doom is expecting. What they were not expecting, or what he won't expect, is the Masters of Evil. He will not expect that our desperation has taken us to a point that we're now enlisting the help of people we have been fighting against for years. This is one of my favorite parts of this comic, because Mysterio comes up and he's like, hold on 1 second, guys. He's like, this is the master plan. This is our big move. We're gonna punch Dr. Doom until he says he won't be Emperor anymore. Like he's been absolutely ready for you the last 2 times. What's gonna be different this time? At best, we're a +6 modifier, not a ×2. This is where the Scarlet Witch informs us that this is all gonna be distraction. While they're fighting Doom, the Scarlet Witch, Baron, and Madeline Pryor, they're gonna go to the world leaders. They're gonna find out what kind of control that Doom has over them, to see if they're Doombots, to see if this is magic, to see if it's some kind of mind control. That's what takes us to the Latveria border. Doc Ock, MODOK, Vision, Storm, Iron Man, Thor, Captain Marvel, and Captain America. They come knocking at the front door. Doom obviously having a magical shield around all of Latveria. They're not gonna have to wait long or figure a way in, because Dr. Doom will happily come to them. This is where Doom shows up riding his Doom T-Rex, and the fight breaks out. Doom recognizing that they're now working with the Masters of Evil. As he's talking though, he falls silent. He senses a single bullet piercing his first barrier of protected magic, and then it pierces the second, a magically enhanced projectile headed right for his armor. Doom now discovers that there are other players on the field that have been shielded from his sight. That, of course, Mysterio and Arcade. And while Arcade and Mysterio think they have the upper hand for a moment, Doom quickly shifts it. Had it not been for the Avengers coming in with MODOK to help him out, this would have gone sideways very quickly. But the Avengers hit him with everything they have, throwing everything they can at him. The Scarlet Witch is doing her thing. They all tap into the minds of the world leaders. And what she learns is the most shocking truth that she has heard yet, reaching out to the Avengers and letting them know that it's not Doombots. This is not mind control. Doom's only use of his Sorcerer Supreme power was to allow him to be in many places at once, to accomplish a single night, what would have taken years or maybe decades to do. That is the only thing he's done. He has been negotiating around the globe. He has been tapping into the hate and fear already present after the vampire invasion. He built up the idea that the world is in chaos, that the system has been broken, and the heroes are just as bad as the villains. Doom promised the world order. He offered everybody with power whatever they needed to secure their support. Money, security, health, time, sex, revenge. Every world leader got exactly what they wanted. There were no spells to break, no robot duplicates. Doom didn't cheat. This isn't magic. This is human nature. Society chose this. And this is when Doom chimes in and says, now you see the truth. He did not take this title. He earned the title. Doom lets them know that right now, on the raft, the prison of their creation, there's a riot going on. Prisoners are escaping. The question now remains, do you stay here and fight me, or do you choose to battle alongside Doom? Do you want to actually help people, or are you just gonna attack me? Iron Man and Storm both verifying that this information is in fact correct. But Carol Danvers says no way in hell. We attack Doom. It is too coincidental that the raft has an outbreak of prisoners running everywhere right when we attack Doom. This is when Doom decides with the snap of his fingers, he teleports all of them directly to the raft. He forces the Avengers to go to the raft and deal with the prisoner outbreak. The media and Doom, they take full advantage of this. They call out the Avengers, not only for attacking Doom, but for Doom having to force teleport them to the raft to handle the situation. But he does give props to the Avengers. He says that they did a good job. At the end of the day, they did the right thing. And so he gives them a simple thank you for your service to the world and to Doom. Now, while Doom is playing politician, there are others that are peering in on Earth and seeing what's going on. This is what takes us to Dormammu, watching the new Sorcerer Supreme. Dormammu believes that the new Sorcerer Supreme either doesn't know about his responsibilities, or he is unaware of them. That means the spell the Earth Sorcerer Supreme must maintain, one that protects and secures Earth from the grasp of the Dark Dimension, he believes it now lies in ruins. The wait is finally over. It is time for the Dark Dimension to invade. It is time that Doom feels the wrath of Dormammu. Alright gang, hopping into this issue, we're picking up and we see what's going down. The Avengers are gone, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, everyone Dormammu thought might stand against him, banished in a single moment, sent to an isolated and rapidly collapsing pocket dimension. There is not a single hero that is left standing. There is all but Doom. And Doom, he casts 3 spells. One spell is a protection spell. The other 2, they're meant to engage Dormammu, as the 2 of them stand toe-to-toe. Dormammu telling Doom that you've left this realm unguarded, though Doom would disagree considering he's standing right before him, and Dormammu acknowledging that he does understand the powers of the Sorcerer Supreme, at least when it comes to protecting himself. Asking Doom, what do you do now? Do you scheme your way to turn me into your ally, as you have everybody else? Or is this the part where you beg for mercy? What Dormammu did not know is that this Doom standing before him was nothing more than a fake. That's where the real Doom comes from behind him and knocks him in the back of the head. Doom didn't come to bargain, using the Eye of Agamotto, saying that Strange only ever employed it directly, like a fool. He never thought to magically bend that light around him over and over, growing it ever stronger like a turret, like a hurricane. This is where he hits Dormammu with enough light to shame the sun. Dormammu opening up a portal, and we see the demon horde descend down on Doom. Even Doom acknowledging that this may be a challenge, but he believes that Dormammu expects him to act as Stephen Strange would. This would be a foolish expectation. To defeat these demons, he's got to use the Eye of Agamotto in a way that Doctor Strange never would. Many possibilities present themselves. He chooses one, creating a new spell for its light, something unique, something unprecedented, and he casts it with 2 simple words. Dr. Doom says, "Flame on." And we see the fire of Agamotto burning all around him, decimating demons in his path. Choosing another spell, he whispers Optic Blast, and he starts laying down some demons, using a little bit of Cyclops' abilities, a little bit of Johnny Storm. There was one last spell that Doom wanted to cast. Raising up his fists, we see the Wolverine claws come out, and he drives those claws deep into the stomach of Dormammu. But this was an oversight on his part. Dormammu wanted him to get close, wanted Doom's attention on him so that the demons could steal the eye from him. Dormammu saying that your ego got the better of you, being so endlessly predictable, telling Doom that you and I both know this is all your fault. You allowed Earth's mystical defenses to be weakened. Telling Doom, I'll keep your secret, and I'll keep the other one as well. We both know that you could end this anytime you wanted. You could magically strengthen Earth's defenses in a heartbeat. You could save Earth, rescue all of its heroes, banish him, and protect all those people below. But it comes at a cost. To do it now so late, when Dormammu is already here, it means using up all of his magic, necessarily relinquishing his title as Sorcerer Supreme. Doom would lose everything. He could do it with a thought, but it is a thought that Doom cannot bring himself to think. An admission that he is insufficient, lesser, inferior, telling Doom that he is going to lose it all anyway. Now it's going to be much more painful. This is where he strips Doom of all his armor, breaks one of his arms, breaks one of his legs, plunging him into the water, feeding him to the demons. Doom has fallen, and as Doom sits in this water, trying to tell himself that he hasn't lost, still having one good arm, one good leg, we see Doom rise up from the water, broken, battered, beaten. Dormammu almost laughs at him, telling him that you're a dead man who simply hasn't realized it yet. But he promises to end it right here and right now, as Dormammu goes to deal the fatal blow on Doom. The second of his 3 spells is activated, cast when Dormammu first attacked, activated by his mental command. This is a time spell, freezing everyone but Doom for a single moment. One last chance to defy death. Doom knows that his destruction is near. Now he needs to figure out how to prevent it. His armor is gone. The eye, forgotten on the bottom of the Bed River. Spells are all exhausted. He tries to move his broken limbs, forcing them despite the shatteredness of the bones cutting into his muscles. In this smallest, tiniest of moments, Doom permits himself to consider, have I lost? Doom gives himself but the smallest taste of defeat, and his entire soul rejects it. Every cell in his body begins to scream. He directs the totality of his will towards his shattered arms. A finger moves. Indescribable pain. Lesser man would have fallen, but Doom is not lesser man. He has lost everything, but Doom has never been his armor, has never been the mask. Doom is not the magic, Doom is not the name. He is Doom, and Doom never fails. Able to push himself back just in the nick of time. Temporal magic that can only work once. But this is when Dormammu hears something, a noise he can't recognize. It is Doom's plot coming to fruition, the final of his 3 spells. The one that he has been fighting for, buying time for. The instant the Earth's heroes, self-proclaimed heroes, were taken to this pocket dimension, he used identical magic to send the Doombots there as well. There, the Doombots and the heroes have been fighting for their escape, because while Dormammu is power manifest, he has never realized that with great power there must also come the greatest weakness. Dormammu is the end of everything, and when facing such an oblivion, heroes will always choose to stand with the greater good. They will choose to fight for the world. They will choose to save it. And thus, Earth's heroes will always choose Doom. And the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, each of them, all of them, now fight for Doom, with Earth's mightiest showing up on the battlefield. It is an all-out brawl against Dormammu. While they're on the battlefield, Doom starts giving commands. And though at first many are hesitant to follow his orders, they quickly see that Doom has the best interest of everybody in mind. That these are no parlor tricks. I'm not trying to play you. I'm trying to defeat Dormammu. Dormammu shocked that they would align themselves with Doom, with the Avengers and everybody else showing up on scene. This gave Doom the opportunity. They attack with everything they have. They attack him with prejudice. They keep him busy. That gives him the opportunity to recover the Eye of Agamotto, to use its powers to restore his own. And now, Doom demands that he kneels. Magic that is holding his bones together. Willpower to acknowledge the screaming agony of his body. To look it dead in the eye and then to ignore it. Last but not least, hate. Hate fueling all of it. He drops Dormammu down to his knees, and with a huge blast of electricity, a crackling of green energy, Dormammu vanishes. But he's not dead, only neutralized, banished back to his dimension, held there in eternal spells of Doom's own design. The Scarlet Witch would go on to say that that's impossible, that forever magic can't be done, and Doom knows that they have to be anchored to an event here on Earth. That's what he's accomplished. The spells binding Dormammu are as decreed, tied to earthly circumstances, yet they will nonetheless remain eternal, for their end only comes when Doom's rule ends. So Doom has very strategically and brilliantly made it to where Dormammu can never return so long as Doom is Sorcerer Supreme. And the world is receptive. The world is happy. The world is thriving. As our heroes do cleanup, they're all trying to figure out what the hell is Doom's angle. Doom really did save everybody in these buildings. The instant Dormammu first attacked, he protected everybody. Not a single life had been lost today. Not one. He's presenting himself as a hero, but he's not failing. He's given the world peace, healthcare, education, food, security. Hell, even trains are running on time. The truth is, he's getting results. The people like it. To ignore this would be naive. If we can see this, so can everybody else. Even Sue, she has to admit, this is crazy. A surprise attack demonically imploded UN headquarters and not a single injury or fatality. Now Tony's gotta ask, what now? Do we keep letting Doom do this and we just play cleanup crew? This is where Thor steps forward. He has to put forth a question, and he asks all the heroes to truly think on this. Is it not possible that Doom truly is what is best for Midgard? Immediately, Iron Man deposes the idea, throws it off the table, saying don't let yourself fall into this trap. But the way Thor sees it, this isn't a trap. I'm asking you to consider this. Do it carefully. Thor is of Asgard, where the Allfather is both king and protector of the 10 realms. Odin demanded respect from mortals and gods alike, and he received it. The Allfather, he earned that title. Under his rule, each of the 10 realms were saved from calamity, disaster, ruin, across timeless eons. But Odin wasn't perfect either. None know that better than Thor himself, who is now king. But more often than not, Odin was what was best. He stood between them and absolute apocalypse. A great king and a great man. He made Asgard and all the other realms what they are today. And so Thor's been struggling with this idea. Are we so certain a system that has worked for every other realm, the realm of the world tree, since time immemorable, would here on Earth simply fail to work? Reminding them that he's not of Midgard. This is not his land, but his eyes don't shy away from the truth. And those eyes are telling him that Doom claimed his throne, and since then Midgard has been safe, secure, and prosperous. To tell me, mighty Avengers, that Doom hasn't done more to improve this realm in weeks than we've done in years. Even Captain Marvel is saying like he's not entirely wrong. Earth is still here today because of what Doom did. Tony starts to lose it. He's like, there's no way in hell you guys are starting to think this way. Like, for all we know, Doom set all this up. For all we know, Doom didn't get hurt at all today. Like, the dude's last name is literally Doom. How are we sitting here having this conversation? Because Doom's a master manipulator. He could have arranged all the events, made us feel how we're feeling. He could have planned for this to be happening right here, right now. And Thor has to ask, like, how did he accomplish this master manipulation? Oh, that's right, by saving all of us. By saving 9 other realms for Dormammu. Like, if this is the master manipulator at work, I hope Doom does it more often. Then, of course, the argument about freedom, about Earth being under an emperor. But obviously, Thor can't see it that way, being of Asgard under its king, just as countless others in Midgard themselves. Many nations in Midgard have some kind of dictatorship, some kind of monarch, a king, a queen. We're squabbling over semantics. Doom is at his highest. He has raised Midgard up with him. We all happily are now rid of Dormammu. Our victory is so good today, so complete, that not even death herself could come. These are things that we cannot ignore just because we don't like the man. But after this, we get a visitor. We get Maria Hill, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., or at least what's left of it, here to let them know that she knows why they keep losing. She knows why Doom keeps winning. Doom is hiding something that is big. She knows where it is, she knows how to get it. But to do this, it's gonna take everybody. He challenges him to an intellectual debate. What Reed Richards is hoping is to finally be able to expose Doom, to use his superior intellect and be able to somehow trip up Doom, somehow get him to expose to the world how truly evil he is, to show what his true intentions may be. And so while this conversation is beginning to get underway, Doom kind of raises the stakes. And Doom tells Reed that if you win this debate, I'll step down. The two of them sitting down, they decide the fate of the world. In front of the planet, Reed and Doom, they discuss, they dispute, they contest. Both of these men command logic, but Doom operates more on an emotional plane, an interpersonal plane. This is something that Reed Richards, he has really trouble accessing. This is not easy for him. Reed and Doom, they can both win the minds, but Doom, only Doom, can win the hearts. And so Reed deploys one of his own only advantages given to him by Maria Hill. He says that he has persuasive evidence that Victor set up the events of Blood Hunt, and not set them up, but he ignored them. He knew that they were coming and he did absolutely nothing, that they could have been prevented, and you chose not to. But as soon as he lets this information out, Reed looks over at Doom and he can swear that Doom is smiling under that mask. This is when Doom brings up December 7th, 1941. Japan had struck at America in the form of Pearl Harbor. The English leader, Winston Churchill, a man repeatedly considered the greatest prime minister in Britain history, arguably one of the greatest Britons of all time. He knew the attack was coming, and so he faced a choice: warn the Americans and prevent the attack from happening, prolonging the war possibly indefinitely, or let events proceed, let them play out how they will, thus hastening the fall of Hitler forever. And so Winston Churchill's decision to keep this secret, many people may have lost their lives, but it ended the overall war. Now, Reed Richards would argue that that's never been proven, that there is no evidence even now, decades after the fact. But Doom would argue that most of the evidence hasn't been shared. Much of it has been destroyed. Doomer's really saying that it's irrelevant, because we don't actually know if it's true. But based off of this, we can make a conclusion. Just like Winston Churchill would stand before you unapologetic, I do the same thing. The impossible choice that he had to make for the greater good, I did the same thing. This is when Reed Richards begins to recognize he is losing this debate. But meanwhile, outside Latveria, we have our Avengers. Reed Richards is a mere distraction as our Avengers try to break in. Doom put up a magical barrier all around Latveria. They have been struggling to get in, but it appears that they may have found a weak spot, as every single one of our heroes concentrate their powers on a singular spot. With the brief opening, 3 heroes go in: Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, and Invisible Woman. For the first time in months, they're about to find out what is actually going on in this place. Nobody has been here. Nobody has stepped foot on Latveria land. And so while they go to investigate, we pick up with our debate. And Doom is absolutely crushing it. He brings up the Avengers. He says Tony Stark has an arc reactor technology that he could give the world clean, safe, boundless energy, but he keeps it for himself. He uses it and wields it like a weapon. Hank Pym, he could end world hunger in a week, in an afternoon, yet he chooses to enlarge himself. Black Panther, he hoards his nation's wonderful gifts. He insists that the world isn't ready for it. Storm could end droughts, heat waves, change everything, but she did help terraform Mars and almost rules over Earth. Now she's one of your Avengers. And don't even get me started on mutant kind. They had cured death, and they decided not to share it with the world. These are all the people that Reed Richards would call friend. Had they been permitted to ruin the world, they would have then simply voyaged into a sea of parallel universes, leaving them to clean up the mess. But your everyday citizen, there is no escaping to another universe. And then Reed Richards, dubbed the smartest man in the world. You share nothing. You publish nothing. You invent wonders, and you hoard them within your walls, within your small group, within your own family. Reed Richards, he's the greatest disappointment of them all. For these years, you have vilified, you have attacked Doom, you and your allies. You could have changed things, but only Doom had nothing to lose. That your greed, your thundering hubris, this ensured that only Doom could save the world. You created the only thing that could finally defeat you, Reed Richards. You created Doom. This is what hops us over to Latveria. Our 3 ladies, they're invisible, inaudible, and they are hidden from any magical vision that Doom may have deployed. Pretty much like the ultimate spycraft. But as they're walking around Latveria, everything seems normal. Everybody seems to be enjoying their life, having a great time. But they quickly see that things are on repeat. As they begin to figure out what this is, Doom is using hard light. With Invisible Woman here, she's able to bend it, and they're able to expose the ginormous tower that is standing here in the middle of the city. We are seeing Latveria as it truly is, with Wanda breaking down the defense spells. This is Sorcerer Supreme magic cast by Doom, but it's more powerful than anything she's ever seen before. But there's also nothing fighting her. That means that these spells, they're not meant to keep people out, they're meant to keep people in. Now, as the three of them make it inside, they recognized that the town had been empty after they lift the illusion. It looks like it has been that way for months. As Scarlet Witch gets inside, she can feel the magic in this place, in the very bones of it. This is time magic, chaos magic, even blood magic, elemental spells, all of them mixed together, all of them at levels that should be impossible. This magic is stacked 9 layers deep. Even the Scarlet Witch, she is truly impressed that this is incredible magic. The time to prep this, the power needed to cast this, and this is when they see it. The truth behind what everything Dr. Doom has been doing. Every single soul in Latveria, all of them locked up, all of them in containment. 1 million souls, 1 million futures, their very lifetimes themselves, harvested by these machines. With our team reporting back to Maria Hill, they begin to take pictures and they send them back so that Reed can use it right now. And so while Doom is going off on his monologue, this is when Reed interrupts him, apologizing but saying that the world has to see something. He is going to show the world the first footage from inside Latveria that anybody has seen in months. The truth on why Victor has kept it sealed off. And while Doom tries to stop him, it's already too late. And we see an anger come out in Reed Richards that we don't usually see. But what they're looking at is men, women, children. He is robbing every one of them of their life force, of their futures. And he is giving it to himself. This is how his magic became so powerful. This is how he has been fueling every one of the spells that he has been casting. He has sacrificed his own people at the altar of himself. And at this point, Doom doesn't even hide it. He grabs hold of Reed's face, and we see the green magic burning Reed. He tells him that I would sacrifice 1 million more if I had to, because there is a cost to greatness, and it's a price that must be paid by somebody. The means are more than justified by the ends. As we see him twist Reed's face, turn it and manipulate it, Reed is able to say, if these horrors are so justified, then why, Victor, do you hide them? This is when Doom looks behind him and he sees that the world is watching. The world just saw everything that he did with a hand gesture. The signal is lost and the world is left wondering, what the hell just happened? What about the powers that be? The natural order of things. These are the two forces that shape all of existence. All of this explained in the God series by Jonathan Hickman that if you have not read, you need to go read. I have videos, check it out. But for those that don't want to go into it, the beginning of this comic kind of catches you up on what's going on. We pick up with Maya, and before the God series took place, she was kind of just a regular everyday person. But now she's what is called a chained apprentice. And her boss is Win. He is the avatar of the powers that be. And their relationship is kind of rather unique. So the way that this works is that there's two organizations. There's the powers that be that is Win. Now he is the avatar and the soul avatar. But then there's the natural order of things. More of a science-based ideology. With Win being the avatar, he's been granted immortality. But Maya doesn't have the same privilege. The job of a chained apprentice is kind of to follow him around and make sure that he stays in check. She's tasked with following him around by the science god to keep an eye on the magic god. That's pretty much how it works out. This is all part of an ancient compact that really prevents war or reality from collapsing and all kinds of other stuff. Now, Maya's having a hard time with Win. The truth is, Win isn't a very attentive mentor. He's not paying attention. He's not really helping her learn learn magic or anything that he's supposed to be doing. But Win tells her that we're gonna have to argue about this later, because right now, the world is ending. When Maya asks if it's up to me and you to save it, he says 100%. Well, more like 95, maybe 80%. The natural order of things would probably peg it at like 66% because they're so literal. But before we go, we're gonna need one more person. With Win opening up a portal, this is what brings him to Doom. And this is just a glimpse at how powerful the powers that be can truly be as the Avatar. When coming in and saying that he's led to understand that it is now Emperor of the World. When Doom tries to tell him that he can't, Win tells him like, I already have, like it's already too late, I'm here. Now of course, Doom knows who he is. Sir Redwin, Avatar of the Power that Be. Doom wants to know why you're here, why you're trampling through all of my magical defenses as if they're not even there. He tells him to speak quickly because he has many scientific measures that can go against him, ones that he's barely holding back as is. And Maya making her introduction, to be honest, she doesn't know what to say. In the presence of the Emperor of the World, she's never been so afraid in her life. Just standing next to Doom, he exudes strength, confidence, and a look in his eyes you can tell that he's holding back the rage. But this is when Doom tells Win that you lied to me. You said that this is your trained apprentice, but I'm the Sorcerer Supreme. You don't think I can detect the magically attuned aspects of her. This girl is no mere proxy to a petty god. This is a young, untrained sorceress. This is when he has to explain to Doom, yes, technically she's a sorcerer, but long story short, she has magical potential, she was recruited to the science side, but then her magical growth forever stunted because she's my trained apprentice. It's a whole thing. Yeah, it's a kinda you had to be there to understand it. By all accounts though, she is not a true proxy to the natural order of things. In the grand scheme of things, the gods don't look that closely at these things. As long as the spirit of the agreement is maintained, the fine print isn't an absolute necessity. Now Doom's like, alright dude, I don't care. I don't care about your drama, I don't care about all that BS that you got going on. I want to know why you're here. But I'm also interested in Maya. Combine science and magic, very few in this world ever do, save for Doom. Doom sees potential. But this is when Win goes on to explain, look, Emperor or whatever you want to call yourself. The powers that be doesn't care who runs the world, but there are duties as a Sorcerer Supreme, ones that you need to be performing, and ones that you have neglected to do, because there are magical symbols, sigils that sustain within the sun's core. Those sigils are there to keep certain demons, who famously love hellfire and heat, away from the sun. Without them, said demons would devour the sun from inside out, an orgy of consumption. These sigils are failing. They've already begun to decay, and now they can't be repaired, at least not from Earth. To fix these, they must be re-enchanted. You gotta do this from inside the sun's core. And Doom knows that everything he says is true. Now this is where Maya gets a little ticked off, because yes, this is the job of Sorcerer Supreme, but Win also let it get to this point. How are you so irresponsible that you let something so necessary for everybody depend on a single person? More than that, you waited until everything was pretty much destroyed before you came to Doom to tell him to do his job. While Doom says that Maya, relax, while your anger towards him is completely justified. It's gonna take all three of us to get this job done. As Win opens up his spell, we see the three of them transported to the sun. And this is where they begin the work, working on one sigil at a time. We have Maya that goes up and helps Doom. And while this is happening, we see a great conversation between Maya and Doom. Now, she's seen Doom as a danger, as a violent, dangerous individual. I mean, he took over the freaking world. But in the presence of Doom, she's had nothing but compliments. Doom has been nothing but respectful. As Doom shows her how to use this magic, she does mention, Win never shows me any of this. He expects me to figure it out on my own. And she says, or Doom says, I'm not him. I'm Doom. But I noticed your magic is stunted. While Win told you that your wings were clipped, magic is powered by the unshakable belief that one's spells will work. It's one of the reasons that Doom is Sorcerer Supreme. The problem you're having, you don't have faith in your own spellcasting. You're believing what everybody is telling you. I don't care what Wynn says. I don't care what the gods say. Don't let others prescribe you to the borders of your own potential. And Maya thinks to herself, like, despite everything she has heard about this man, she actually likes Doom. Like, Doom even goes as far as calling her apprentice, and not necessarily in the degrading, I don't know your name kind of way that Wynn does it, but in a I'm your mentor kind of way. But as the demons come in, we have Wynn and Maya that hold them off. Doom works on the sigils that will ban them completely. But until then, the two of them have to hold off the horde. Knowing that Doom is unafraid, knowing that Doom has faith in her, that Doom trusts her, she refuses to let Doom down, banishing the demons back from whence they came. They get off a final spell before they are taken away. An incantation that will neutralize all of their magic. The sigils are immune, but the bubbles are collapsing. In the blink of an eye, the flames overtake them. And all three of them would have been dead had it not been for Doom. You see, Doom didn't rely solely on magic. He created a device before he left that would activate had something like this happened. They became intangible. Thus, they remained untouched when the Maelstrom surrounded them. And Wynn says, like, that's great. That's fantastic. I'm glad you're able to use science to keep us alive for what? Another 20 minutes? 15 minutes and then we're dead. How long before your battery runs out? Your device that can't send us back to Earth. That's when Doom tells him that we have 3 minutes. This is when Doom's like, you know, homie, I'd watch your mouth. I'd hold your tongue, because you're not going to keep talking to me like this. That's when Wynn tells him, I would advise you, Emperor Doom, that the next time you want to find yourself and build yourself a plan B, maybe try to think a little bit more ahead. And this is when Doom attacks him, and he tells Wynn that you don't speak to me in this manner. Of course I thought ahead, but how dare you tell me to think ahead? You let this problem fester until it required us to travel to the very core of the sun to fix it. You immortals, you float above us. You become accustomed to this, not even concerning about anything around you. You surrender any responsibility you have to care. And Wynn tells him, like, I care very much. I care because in a few minutes, you two will die. But as you said, I'm immortal. I will sit here and burn forever. And Doom looks over to Maya and he tells her to witness this. This is the value of death. It may put terrible limits on our potential. It may rob us of those that we love, but in return, it gives them the gift of ensuring that men like Wynn, they can trouble them only fleetingly. And if he cannot die, he can at least suffer. This is where we see Doom teleport out of here, letting Wynn know that he's got 67 seconds left. They, however, have all the time in the world. And so teleporting them back, Doom created two devices. One of his person to render them temporarily intangible, and the other, a teleport back to the castle. But Maya says, like, what about Wynn? I don't care if he doesn't care about me. I don't want him to suffer. I don't want him to burn for eternity, even if he is an asshole to me. This is when Doom says, then ask. Go ahead and ask me. Today you've earned a favor. I can save him and may even choose to. All you have to do is ask me to do it. But Maya says no. Thank you, but no. Because I don't want him to suffer. But I also don't want to be the kind of person that owes Doom a favor. And as we're taken to some time later, we pick up with Wynn at the front door of Maya's place. And Wynn's trying to figure out, like, how the heck did you do this? How is this possible? And Maya did this by finding her own way. She suspected that the sun's demon curse couldn't last forever, and it didn't. It wore off after a few weeks. In the meantime, she had been researching teleportation magic. She developed a spell that would grab someone from the recent past and pluck them back home into the present. So she pretty much grabbed Wynn right before he was about to burn for eternity and brought him to the present so that he wouldn't suffer at all. And Wynn had gone to Doom first, believing that Doom was the one responsible for saving him. But Doom wanted her to know that he's impressed. and he tells her that I think Doom might be in the market for an apprentice. But this is where he also lets her know, like, look, what Doom said about me, he wasn't wrong. I do tend to float above all of it, untouched. I mean, me and the powers that be, we do great work, but we don't have any skin in the game for mortal life. And that does change things a bit. Maybe that's where the apprentice comes into be. Maybe you're supposed to be here to help keep us grounded, to remind us of the mortals that are still living lives. And so I owe you an apology, because when you've lived as long as I have, when you've had as many apprentices as I have, you see them come and go. Sometimes you just don't get bothered to learn their names. And so he apologizes. Doom saw something in you I should have seen a long time ago. Even though I know you can't technically quit, thanks to being the whole chained apprentice thing. He tells her that things will be different moving forward. And Maya agrees. She says things will be different moving forward. That I'm not gonna be your apprentice any longer. From now on, we're gonna be equals. Doom saw the value in me. He wouldn't allow himself to be less than anyone else around him, and I'm not gonna do the same either. You're gonna teach me, and I'm gonna teach you. We work together as equals. And you said it before, the gods, they don't care about the small details. They don't care about the fine print. We're working together, and that's all that they really care about. And Maya knew that if this was going to work, there had to be at least one last thing that he has to do. Something that she shouldn't have to ask for. And so yes, this was all a test. Maya wasn't sure if this is the path that she wanted to go. But after Doom, after everything, she is fully confident. Moving forward, this is what she wants. And her and Win, they will be partners from here on out. With this dynamic shift in everything that has been going on, we see people start to turn on Doom. Ones that once loved him. Governments that were once siding with him. They're all turning away from him. They're siding with the heroes. Eventually, those governments, they come for Doom with rifles and tanks pointed directly at him. They should have known that they were going to be no match for the Sorcerer Supreme. Left in Doom's wake is nothing but death and destruction, flame and bone. In 10 days, Doom has lost control of everything. The world is turning upside down. They're fighting back against him. And so our heroes, they make their final stand. Their ragtag team that they assembled, from Beta Ray Bill to Cyclops to Mr. Fantastic to Squirrel Girl. This is the heroes' last stand. Now this is where we hop over to Val, goddaughter to Dr. Doom. And she watches as it is live broadcast. The Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, they all go against her godfather. She watches as the world fights against him. Now, if you guys remember months ago, he came to her. He tried to justify his actions. Said that he sought glory, but that glory it's now dead and all that is left is power. Power and control. Val is now seeing that Doom's plan, it has definitely shifted. It's changed. As Doom just puts everything to ruins. As he fights back against all the world's heroes. This is no longer about glory. This is no longer about saving the world. This is about maintaining power. Now that he has it, like any dictator, he refuses to give it up. And while they watch, they see that Doom, he's not losing. Uncle Doom is winning. This is what takes us down to the battlefield, as we now get the narration from Doom himself, having a world's army standing against him, a world's fury. All of it is still insufficient. And while he is having the tiniest of slip-ups fighting against such a superior force, most wouldn't notice this. But most people are not Reed Richards. Richards knew how to take him down. He knew how to fight against Doom. Being attacked from every single direction, Doom thought he expected everything. He thought everything that Reed Richards would throw at him. That's until Reed Richards knocks him into the astral plane. A new battlefront, a new dimension. Reed Richards has elevated himself. A man that once was really afraid of magic because he didn't understand magic. The world's oldest and, in Doom's opinion, stupidest dog has finally learned a new trick. Now, Reed was really hoping that revealing the whole plan to the world would make Doom step down, but now he notices that that's not going to work. And so he went with Plan B. Since this has started, Doom's been winning. It's because you're more powerful. You're wielding a weapon that Reed Richards doesn't understand. That was magic. Time magic, dark magic, Sorcerer Supreme magic. But Reed Richards has been studying. He has been building up his repeatable properties in a kind of periodic table of magic. He may have a real problem with magic, but he's really good at science. And so Reed Richards has been building a new science. And his favorite thing about science is that anybody can wield it. You don't need to be special, you don't need to be chosen. You don't even need to think that you're a god. You simply gotta put in the work. And that's what he's been doing since this whole thing started. He has been learning, harnessing, and here he is now, finding himself on the astral plane, having studied how he defeated Dormammu. He tells Doom, it is time to proceed. Sorcerer Supreme versus Scientist Supreme. And while Doom battles against him, he thinks that he's a clown, clumsily playing around at godhood. But Doom already knows his weakness, Dormammu. He's attacking with spells that Doom invented himself. He thought maybe this might overwhelm Doom, but this is a childish notion. Reed Richards is nothing more than a forger, nothing more than a thief, a clumsy, entitled, ambitious pretender. As Doom grabs hold of his face, we see in this astral plane as Mr. Fantastic begins to break apart. Doom correcting him for his hubris against an emperor. He moves him into an infinitely irrated fractal dimension, where every cell in his body is stretched farther and farther, so far that it can't actually truly be measured. And then he removes both of them from the astral plane. He seals off the astral plane from Reed Richards forever. Back on Latveria, back on the battlefields, Reed Richards begs for mercy. But in this world, to the victor belongs the spoils. And throughout this comic, you're going to understand why I say that, and we're going to talk about it at the end. Now, if you remember in the last issue, we had Dr. Doom and Reed Richards battling one another in the astral plane, while Reed is just getting his butt kicked. In Arizona, we have Val and we have Franklin. They've been watching as the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, the Avengers, they're all getting their butt kicked. And so she thinks that there's gotta be something I can do. There has to be a way that I can get to Uncle Doom and I can talk to him. So after a couple moments of tinkering, she finds a way to communicate, kind of sending Morse code to him that connects to his armor. And Doom notices. Doom pulls her into like an astral plane, what is known as the mindscape of the Sorcerer Supreme magic. At least some of it. The rest of it, that's all Doom. Now Val immediately starts this off by asking, are you still fighting Mom, Dad, everybody else? And Doom says, yes, I am. And your father, he's losing badly. Now Val really does know how to play to Doom's ego. So in this moment, she's like, thank you for letting them live. And Doom's response is, I did it for you. That I only let your father live because of you. It's the whole reason he hasn't taken out Sue and the whole Fantastic Four. It is because of his love and affection for his goddaughter. But he does tell her that our time is short. Right now, the world is coming down on me, and I have to fight. As it stands, you remain the only one that holds favor with Doom, that holds Doom's respect, and holds Doom's love. But I have to repeat myself, what do you want? And she asks Doom, where does this end? You said that this was all for glory, but it's really not about that anymore. At this point, it seems like you continue to go on just to prove that you weren't wrong, to prove that you're still the best of us. So what I'm asking is for you to stop. And while Doom is currently physically battling against Beta Ray Bill and a handful of other individuals, he tells Val that I know what you want, at least in present time, but where this ends is in my victory. Everything has a cost. Everything truly great, it cost even more. Now Val will argue with him that when you began all of this, it was manufactured consent to win the hearts and minds. But now you've gone down the path of coercion, something that they're never going to accept. She tries to tell Doom that this isn't going to work, that you can't hold an entire population by force. Now Doom will go on to say that you can't, but Doom can. That Doom will ensure that everything happens today happens forever. As he sends Val back, she tries to get back to him. She tries to reach out again, but he cuts the signal completely. Meanwhile, in Latveria, we have our heroes that are banding together with all their powers. We have Maria Hill that is giving orders, commanding Squirrel Girl to do Maneuver 99, and Invisible Woman and Iron Man, they do Maneuver 110. While this is all happening, we have Storm and Johnny. They are creating a fire hurricane. Right now, they got Doom inside a freaking city-sized rock tumbler at 2,000 degrees. Invisible Woman telling them that they're going to do Maneuver 110, bend all the energy Tony can produce into an infinite loop. They're going to take this energy and they're going to hit Doom with it all at once. Cyclops adding a little bit of extra power to it. She bends this energy into an infinite loop. Now, bending all of this energy, they think it might work, but Doom says that he's Sorcerer Supreme. He's Emperor of Earth. Even a week's worth of their power hitting him, it would be insufficient, saying that it's also petty, it's also cheap, intolerable. Now he thinks that maybe he's given them power for too long. They forgot that anything an X-Gene expresses can be unexpressed. This is when Storm falls from the sky. Iceman begins to melt. Beast's hair begins to fall off. Our X-Men have had their X-Gene temporarily suppressed. He tells them that all of your powers will return. Once you've left the battlefield, I hope you acknowledge that if you try this again against me, I will make this permanent. That you exist only at Doom's pleasure. By all accounts, Doom is won. This game is over. But then there was Squirrel Girl. She grabs hold of Doom, but she is also nothing more than a distraction. This is when Doom looks over and he sees it. He had left Richards alive, but barely. He should be unable to fight, unable to attempt a combination of science and sorcery. But then he sees it. Every hero that can produce energy. Susan is bending it all towards the shattered hammer, Stormbreaker. Reed Richards is magically imbuing all of their powers into a single item. Doom even finding this unprecedented in his current state. We see Ben pick up Stormbreaker, and he knocks Doom for one hell of a loop. Now this sends Doom flying, but even that is not enough to take down Doom. Right now, Doom is about to have his ultimate victory to ensure that this stands the test of time against magic, time travelers, any trickery. Doom is transforming this moment into a fixed point in time. What has happened will always happen. It cannot, it will not change. He is bending causality itself to forever inscribe his eternal achievement into the very fabric of the cosmos. All of his magic, all of his powers he feeds into his armor. None but Doom could ever keep them in check. But right now, he doesn't want to. His armor explodes into a million magically infused shards. It saturates the entire battlefield. As Doom sits and looks around the battlefield, the fallen heroes surrounding him, and Doom, the last standing. He tells them to witness. Witness how I let you all still live. That Doom is wisdom. Doom is strength. Doom is mercy. Restoring his mask a new beginning for him. And as he goes on his little monologue of victory, a voice from behind him, someone that still stands, someone that still lives. We see Valeria Richards on the battlefield. Her body littered with the shards of Doom's armor. A huge chunk of it in her neck. As she reaches out for her uncle, we see the head of Valeria fall from her body. You know, One World Under Doom, I think, is gonna go down as one of the best Doom comics that has come out in years. This issue number 9 of One World Under Doom. This is our finale. This brings everything to a close. Doom has pretty much gotten everything that he could want. But in his final battle, as victory is within his grasp, his goddaughter Valeria shows up to the battlefield. And with her arrival, she also meets her death. And if you know anything about Doom, Doom will sacrifice anything and I mean anything, to make sure that Valeria lives. This started from her birth. She was placed under the royal protection of Doom, that anybody foolish enough to ever mess with her, to strike at her, this is no different than striking at Doom. You see, One World Under Doom, this is a love story. It's about a great king who never allowed anybody to touch his heart, but his goddaughter. She is the one that claimed it so easily, so gracefully, so much so that Doom didn't even notice it was happening. But the great king, he protected her. He cared for her. He taught her everything that her parents wouldn't, and he helped guide her throughout the years. So as we sit here on the battlefield and we see that Valeria is dead, the life is out of her body, Doom screams to the heavens. When his goddaughter died, the great king's heart, which he had never allowed anybody to touch, broke forever. In this moment, we get a brief little conversation between Doom and Valeria. You see, Doom is telling her this story of the great king, because fairy tales, stories, they hold power. And at present, stories are the only thing holding her body and soul together. This small little sliver of life, this is what Doom is holding on to of Valeria. This is the spark he wishes to reignite and bring her back. While in the physical world, he works with great effort to try and fix her body, to mend the wounds, telling her that Doom does not permit this. The great king did all that he could, but he could not save her. He could not change the past, knowing that her body was rotting, her soul gone. He voyaged to a place that mortals never meant to go, teleporting her body out of here with him. He goes to the Vishanti, those that have extraordinary power over life and death. They could, if they wanted to, fix a mistake. But these beings, they spoke of only duty, of consequences. They refused to hear anything Doom had to say. And so the great king, he used his power and he forced them to listen. He used all of his earthly magic. But here, among these beings, the rules are different. Different magic. Here, there was magic powered by emotion. And right now, emotion is something that Doom has in abundance. But even with his great amount of power, the Vishanti wouldn't listen. They would not heed his words. They would not obey. And so he sought better gods, stronger gods, traveling through yawning voids, through rooms that are white hot. That is, until he arrives at the shores of a great god. Doom stands before the living tribunal, and he tells them that Valeria Richards has died, that I require this to be otherwise. And Doom offers anything that the living tribunal would desire. The living tribunal will go on to tell him that bargains carry terrible costs, but one can also not bargain when they have nothing to offer, because Doom has nothing to offer. And we see Doom almost humble himself, saying that no, if one seeks justice, then one always has something to offer, a more just universe. But the living tribunal will go on to say that you don't seek justice, you just don't want guilt. You don't want to feel the suffering of your mistakes. And Doom fully admits that he does desire those things. But on this occasion, Doom will hide nothing from the living tribunal. Just this once, Doom demands to be fully seen. And so the living tribunal, who could merely kill the great king with less than a thought, they looked into his soul. They found what was expected: the devastating torment, the guilt, the rage, the regret, the ambition. But what they also saw was love. The unadulterated, the untethered, completely selfless love for his goddaughter. To love someone is to put their well-being before your own. This was something the living tribunal finds unexpected, something that even deems merit. And so just this once, the great king will get what he desires. The living tribunal will save Valeria. But Val, even in this moment, she knows that it's going to come with a cost. She doesn't want to do this if it comes at a cost of Doom. But Doom is more than willing to pay whatever it may be, begging to know what the cost would be. He says nothing except your soul is going to go back to where it belongs. Your body will be restored. The cost is irrelevant. You will return to Latveria, and Doom will deal with the consequences. With Val returning to the land of the living, reuniting with her family, Doom is gone, disappeared from the world, vanished in an instant. Nobody really knows what to do or what happens next, but we pick up later on with Mr. Fantastic, and the arrival of Doom. And Reed goes on to tell Doom that freedom's returning. Old democracies are being restored. Old dictatorships, border, all of it. Inequality, old sufferings, old lies, old hate. The world is returning back to what it was before Doom. But more than that, the world is in a worse place since before Doom. Because of what Doom did, it caused power vacuums. So there are coups, instability, expulsions. Doom rather threw the world into chaos. And Latveria without Doom. Reed Richards goes on to explain this, but he's cut off by Doom. But Doom only wants to know, are you enjoying it? The fruits of your labor. And Reed, he pauses, and he goes on to say that there was perhaps never another more gifted and better suited to be a great and benevolent leader, if he chose to be so, than Victor Von Doom. But instead of helping people, you helped yourself. You made fascism. You made it appealing, even attractive. You sold it to good people. You sold it as a reasonable option, and it destroyed everything that it touched, to include you. You have left the world in a far worse place than you had ever found it. But Doom goes on to say that he has realized the dreams of Sargon, of Alexander, of Augustus, in ways that even they never could. That his only fault was to take over a world that Reed Richards and his people were in. That any plan for liberation is destined to fail unless the initial step of this plan is to destroy all of these self-proclaimed heroes first. So Doom is not lost. Even in all of this, in the aftermath of his failure, to Reed Richards, he'll never admit defeat, saying that he is merely postponed and his liberation of Earth will eventually come. But he didn't come here to discuss philosophy. He came here to make a demand. This is not by request. Doom is dying, and as we see him currently just slowly fading away, Reed says that I'm not gonna save you. I don't even know how to forgive you, but I won't save you. I need you to understand this above all other things. Doom, of course, saying, like, of course not. Like, you're incapable of saving Doom, just as are you incapable of defeating Doom. But this is not what Doom demands. Now, Reed will try to go on and say no. That whatever it is, the answer is no, I'm not doing it. Whatever trick, whatever scheme, no. But this is when Doom kinda checks him. He's like, I traded my life for hers, along with my titles, my planet, my soul, asking if she is well. And Reed says that she is. Knowing that she is safe makes all of this worth it for Doom. While Reed will try to go on to say some things, Doom tells him to pretty much just shut up. That he's not going to spend his last moments enduring any kind of vain facade or objections that Reed might have. As Doom fades away, he tells Reed to take care of his world. And when Reed picks up the Mask of Doom, inscripted on the inside, it says that upon his death, a copy of this document should be inscribed within every book, computer system, and information storage device on the planet. Victor Von Doom, of both sound and mind, hereby appoints Reed Richards as the executor and trustee of the final will and testament of Victor Von Doom. He hereby revokes all former wills, anything made by him, and hereby declares and demands that all he possesses, owns, or rules over, including the nation of Latveria, it shall be given to whoever first manages, and then it cuts off. But Reed Richards' cussing and the expression on his face, we can only assume that Doom did what Doom will always do. One final battle, one final trial. Everything that Doom owns goes to the victor. And that is where this series ends. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Honestly, I expected everything until that final page. I was not expecting Doom to do that. So that's an interesting turn of events. Doom knew that he was gonna die. Now, we have to assume that Doom isn't actually dead. He's doing something bigger. He's working on a grander scale. Intertwined now with the Living Tribunal, we could even say that Doom went cosmic, but it is also indentured servitude. He has essentially become a slave to any cosmic being the Living Tribunal sees fit, whether he wants to pass him off or keep him as his own, whether he has plans for him or he wants to bargain with Doom's soul. It's a nice little chip to have, and it could have some benefits. But more than that, I think we're gonna see Doom take on a new role. I think we're gonna see Doom elevated to some kind of maybe cosmic reaper. a form of like cosmic justice for the living tribunal. In my mind, I'm thinking like, honestly, I'm thinking like the Spectre from DC Comics, like the righteous hand of God. I mean, that's not a bad atonement for his sins. To disperse righteous justice across the cosmos seems like a very fitting outcome for Victor Von Doom. But obviously, this is not the end of Doom, and is definitely not the end of Latveria rising to power. Every computer, every book, every storage device in the world got this information, which means every villain, every hero, every up-and-comer, they're gonna be going for Latveria. Everything that Doom had, all of his science, all of his weapons, everything. Not only did he throw the world into chaos, but he did it for a second time. If you thought Doom was done, he had one more little scheme up his sleeve. But honestly, this was a great story. This story, the love story of Valeria and Doom. You know, if you've been following the Fantastic Four comics for any significant amount of time, you'll see how entrenched these two are. Going back years and years. I mean, Doom even goes back in time and tries to change time itself. He does so much in an effort to try and protect Valeria. And because of his own ambitions, because of his own ego, he caused the death of her. Now, you could argue that that's really plot device, but I think it's a fitting in for Doom. That the one thing, the only thing that he truly loved in this world, he killed. Because of his ambition, because of his drive, that hunger became too much, and he lashed out at the world when all of it was right at the grasp of taking everything away from him, when it was on the verge of having all of his great conquests ripped away. One final battle to take down the heroes, and it was all his. But he never expected his goddaughter to be on the battlefield. This was amazing character development, both for Doom, both for Val, for the world, for the Fantastic Four. This is a huge step forward and a huge pivotal moment in Doom and Marvel Comics. Definitely a story that is going to be remembered for years and years to come. I, for one, absolutely loved it. There's some parts that definitely drug on a little bit. Maybe it was a little too long. Some of it might have been just for the plot, you know what I mean? But in the grand scheme, you put it all together, it's an amazing story. I had a lot of fun reading it, but let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that is going on with One World Under Doom, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. That's going to get you caught up on everything that is going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. This is a lot like Patreon. It gives you a bunch of different perks, it has a bunch of different options. It really does help push us in the algorithm a little bit. But if you're unable to do that, the free way to help us out, simply subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the notification bell. There is a new hype button. You can find it down there right under by the comments and everything. This is a new thing that they're testing out to try and help videos pushed in the algorithm. So if you want to hit that hype button, it does help us out greatly. With that being said, until the next breakdown.